Oi, hello everybody, welcome back to another one of my gaming videos. Okay. About the whole, the project, it's getting scrapped. For one thing, I am not that good with making scripts. I am willing to in some cases, but not 4 times consecutively. I might want to, like, in small doses, in some cases, because, like, I'm writing a comic, for God's sakes. But that's not something that I'm gonna have to, like, actively voice out. It's something I'm drawing, something I like, it's something I'm texting on, something I'm fine with. But for making and editing an entire video, it's a bit too much work for a video that's probably not gonna make any revenue. That's not gonna make me money, that's not going to do anything. I do not want to work too hard on something that, for all I know, is just gonna be a hobby in whatever future I see for myself. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to play the only one that I have access to. And, you know what, maybe I'll do a remake rodeo of some sort. I don't know. I like the name of it. But this is just gonna, I'm just gonna skip right over to the Aftermath video, which will be a thing that I'm going to do at the end of every Let's Play. The only reason I didn't do for Final Fantasy 1 is because I wanted to finish Final Fantasy 2 so I could start with the remake rodeo and then do the thing and then introduce my next Let's Play. But of course, that's not gonna happen. Let's just do the thing. Lol. So, let me just say for one thing that Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls is a really weird game. I don't know what if I want to say weird. It's vastly different than the original. So let's start with this. The world lies shrouded in darkness. The intro segment that you see like in a blue screen is is replaced with a bit of a cinematic, something I'm a big fan of. The winds die. How can the sea rage without any wind? Spoilers, I'm sorry. As you can see, everything looks different. We're going to see a bunch of different stuff. I'm not going to show off the entire game. I'll show the beginning, the middle, and the ending a little bit. But the people believe in a prophecy, patiently awaiting its fulfillment. When darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. After a long journey, 4 young travelers did at last appear. Where could we have gone? We're kind of trapped on the continent, right? Where did we get those crystals? So, first off, listen to this music. Music sounds amazing. And, everything looks and appears amazingly. I'm gonna skip this. Or not, maybe. Actually, no, I'm not gonna skip this. I'm gonna show you massacring these enemies with, guess what? I'm just gonna target this same enemy because... Check this, guys. They're going to target a different enemy! So, I'm not really going to continue with the story or anything. I'm actually going to show you something that this game introduces. No, not in the PlayStation version. This feature does not exist in any previous version. That being the Souls of Chaos. If I can not get interrupted by any more enemies. This region was not available in the in either the NES release or the PlayStation release. The putrid stench of decaying earth hangs heavy in the air. Now you'll notice this kind of resembles Lich, the first fiend that we fight. So there are 3 more of these dungeons. They're more or less kind of after-game dungeons. So that means I should probably enter into these dungeons and go through it. Yes, because I want to cover everything. Just not just not 4 different remakes where I'm basically saying the same thing over and over and over again. I will say a couple more things with unscripted, which means I'm probably gonna stutter a few times, but this is how I get better with this, okay? This is how I get better. So for one thing, this game is significantly easier. Easier than the NES release. Obviously, it's a remake, so it's gotta be, you know, more... This is the Earthgift Shrine. Long ago, ye could enter, but the way's been shut since the land began to decay. Thank you. Okay. So, in Final Fantasy Origins, that being the PlayStation release of this game, you got introduced to, of course, both Final Fantasy 1 and 2 in a bundle. This was the first official release in the US of Final Fantasy 2 that wasn't Final Fantasy 4, just, you know, disguised as Final Fantasy 2. What Final Fantasy Origins actually gave us was an option to either do normal mode, which was a bit similar to, you know, the NES version, or easy mode, which basically, you know, dumbed down some stats of the enemies and buffed up our stats and cheapened some of the prices. This game is fixed at easy mode. So if you ever played this game, which you probably did, anybody who's ever played Final Fantasy 1 is probably more or less likely either consuming this version or the Pixel Remastered, which is pretty popular. It's the first time that Final Fantasy 3 got its pixelated version rather than like a 3D version, so very thankful for that. But speaking of Final Fantasy 3, I'm actually going to hold off on showcasing this dungeon until after I complete that. Specifically Final Fantasy 3. I'm going to hold off on all the other dungeons as well until I complete the respective games, because the bosses at the end of these specific dungeons are basically bosses from those different games, which I think is pretty cool. For the first game, you get, you know, bosses from Final Fantasy 3, 4, 5, and 6. Not from 7, of course, but that's okay. Anyways, though, onwards to the present. Okay, so now let's actually look into more of the stuff that we see here. So, listen to this. This is boss music. We get boss music in Final Fantasy 1. Now, should I... Now, here's the thing. Maybe I should... Okay, hang on. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Do you hear that? That is the sound of boss music. It sounds magnificent, doesn't it? So, of course, when you make a remake of a game that does not have any boss music, I'm pretty sure it's like law that you need to add in boss music for whatever reason that you see fit to do so. But pretty much every boss has this music until you get to the fiends, in which case they get a completely different set of you know, there's two different things for where's the words here? There are two different Fiend soundtracks. One for two of them, and another for another two of them. And there we go. Alright, so that's pretty much it. What you just heard is the other soundtracks. Kind of like a snippet of them. You can look them up on different things, or you can play these games. Support, you know, official releases of them. You got Final Fantasy Origins for the PlayStation. You've got this one, Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls, which gives us both Final Fantasy 1 and 2. For the Game Boy Advance. There's the Final Fantasy 20th Anniversary version for the PlayStation Portable. Or, you have, of course, well, there's the mobile version. But there's also the Pixel Remastered version, which gives us a pixel version of all 6 of the NES/SNES games. Anyways, though, I will see you in a little bit to introduce my third Let's Play. Peace.